Hello everyone, this is Ashwin Goyal and my registration number is 17BCE2073. So today I would like to speak upon the Indian education system, and before that I would like to tell you what is the importance of education system in any country. So the education system, it plays a vital role in every country. It determines the literacy and the quality of the population, and its factor on which the whole country depends upon. If the people are educated, then they run the country in a good way. Else, literacy rate becomes very poor. The lifeline of country, it comes out of the youth. And the youth, it comes out of the education. So now I would like to tell you about the Indian education system. So according to a survey, 80% of the people don't like Indian education system, and me being one of them. There are several reasons for the belief. The first thing which I feel is the Indian education system, it doesn't focus on the practical knowledge. It tests people through written exams, tests, quizzes, and whatnot, but never through projects and practical knowledge. What I believe is the people, the students, they should be freed and they should explore this world and then learn from what they experience and not from the bookish knowledge. Usually, we're just sitting in the classes and having the boring lectures. The teacher is coming, she's teaching, writing things on the board. We are just noting it down, mugging up. Then this is how the education works. But it doesn't work that way. There is a popular saying that you cannot judge a fish by its ability to climb. And the Indian education system needs to understand this and improve upon this. Indian education system, they don't keep a balance in studies and extracurricular activities. People are either deeply into studies and studying for like 14, 15 hours, those which are preparing for IIT, JEE, and there are like other people who are totally into playing and the bad activities, which I think is a flaw in Indian education system. They cannot keep the people balanced. If a person loves studies, he studies for 12 to 13 hours. If a person doesn't study, then he indulges into bad activities. This same like the rich gets richer and the poor gets poorer. Everything in the Indian education system is very high, be it the boards or even the normal exams. The education system makes the people feel very less and very secluded and depressed if they score less marks. It's like a life in pressure cooker. They're like unlimited exams, assignments, homeworks, and whatnot. This might also lead to high suicides. Yes, this leads to. After such a pressure, the creativity of a person totally dies, because at the end we're just mugging up things which is written in a notebook, which is written on the board and told by the teacher. We know the number of suicides happening in India every year. Recently in VIT only we saw like 2 to 3 suicides which happened last year. Suicides took place in Kota in 2018. There were like 60 to 70 people who died just because of suicide, which is an irony in the Indian education. The Kota, which is supposed to be the biggest hub for education, but unfortunately, it is the biggest hub for suicides of innocent students. They're like children in villages who are like working in farms, and they've not been allowed to go to schools. They're working in farms, they're working in homes, they're working in maybe industries, or they're working at homes, but they're not allowed to go at schools at all. This shows the lack of education among their parents, which means that the Indian education doesn't even lack among the students, the young students, but also among the parents. Also, this is one thing which I really believe. The Indian education system teaches us how to work for money, but we need to learn how to make money for us, right? So at the same time, what I believe is Indian education system, it has some pros also. The first pro which I think is the discipline. School in India are very particular about their timings, timetables, ethical codes, uniforms, marking systems, and like whatnot. Students need to follow these rules by the schools, else they are punished. Even I remember my 11th and 12th class when I was in the student council, and we were made to check the uniforms or the ID cards or the socks or like whatever. And if they're improper, then we used to punish them. So this is how Indian education works. So this inculcates discipline among the students. The second thing which I feel is the because of the Indian education system, which focuses totally on the exams and tests and quizzes, it really increases the grasping power of the students. We have like everything coming up so fast that it is very important for us to understand things as easily as fast as possible. So this is the one pros which I really feel is good among the Indian education system. They are easily able to understand things at least after their 12th class, when the school thing is over, when they're given boards and they're given one of the biggest exams in their life, right? So other thing which I feel is the Indian education system, it provides knowledge in like every subject. So in whenever you're in a class, you usually have like 5 to 6 subjects. For example, you have physics, chemistry, maths, you have social science, you have political science, you have biology. So it basically gives you a general knowledge about the whole world, about your surroundings, about the environment, about your knowledge, about your language, about computer science, about everything happening in the world. This is one thing which I really feel is the best among the Indian education system. You're not just focusing upon one subject which you really like. For example, it always used to happen there is one student who likes only one subject and scores less marks in the other subjects. But the Indian education system, it makes sure that every student knows either the basics of every subject. All these subjects form a part of the curriculum from the primary class itself, so the student gain knowledge about different subjects from an early stage only. It's not that they either if they're coming to 11th or 12th class only after that they're gaining a lot of knowledge in every subject. So this is about the pros of Indian education system. So now I would like to tell how to improve the Indian education system. So one thing, the first con which I told you was the Indian education system which focuses very less on the practical knowledge. So what I think is this can be achieved by outdoor learning and projects. The students from the 9th and 10th class itself should be given projects. They should be freed outdoors and should be asked to explore the world, explore how things work, be it a physics. If there is a physics subject, then people should actually go to the ground, see how the torque applies on the wheel or how the friction is works. So this is how you learn and not just mug up things which are there in your notebook. And the second thing which I feel is the government ought to take steps to extend the primary schools in order for the people who are living in the villages. You know, the people in the villages, they are working, usually students, they're working at homes, farms, just because there are no schools and they need to earn a living for the family. But if there are schools, this will definitely promote the education even amongst the village people. Everyone ought to get equal opportunity, be it the rich or the poor without any discrimination. We know that there are private colleges who have like a very high amount of fees which the poor cannot even afford. So this is one thing which I really don't like about the Indian education system. The poor, they can afford very high education. They go to Stanford, Harvard, they go to Australia, abroad. But for the poor, they cannot even afford schooling in their village. So for that education loans should be provided very easily to the poor students at a very affordable rate. Be it the interest rate should be like negligible. This will ensure that even if the family has no money for the studies, still they can take a loan and they can make their students go for the school. The next thing which I feel is the Indian education system are totally outdated. When I saw my last NCRT in the 12th class, it was published in like 2007 2006. So can you see, do you think the world, it doesn't advance in 7 to 8 years, it advance even in 1 year. So what I believe is the syllabus, it should change not so frequently, but at least like in 2 to 3 years, so that you are up to date with the latest knowledge, right? I also talked about the girls education. The girls at the time of their birth only, it is like by default that they're going to work in their homes, and they're not allowed to go to school. So what I feel is the girls education should be taken into consideration and it should be a priority. The first of all, we need to educate the parents how the girls education is very important. See Mandira Bedi, see any girl, Priyanka Chopra, and see any actress or any politician. They were first educated and now they are at this position. So I really believe the girls education is something we really need to consider. There ought to be very strict laws among these people from coaching who are like taking high amount of money. I remember paying 3 lakh monies to just a coaching for 2 years. This is so high money. I mean, you can end up a normal village guy can end up the whole schooling in 3 lakh rupees. So this is one thing. And also there are coaching mafias who takes lakhs and even 40-50 lakhs rupees and get admissions to these big colleges like VITs, SRM, which should never happen. The education system, in the education system, everything should be fair and should be same for either the poor or the rich. And the last thing, what I would like to say is the Indian education system, it should be free from corruption. I know there are people, the admission officer, he's taking lakhs of money from the students who are who have scored less in the entrance exams, who couldn't make it to the college. So they take a lot of money from these students, and these are the people who really increases corruption among the country. So I really feel these people should be taken into consideration. These people should be scrutinized as much as possible. Thank you.